So, that was that. Like a fool, I go on begging every mother's son for a loan to run the house and the business, and you go on throwing it to the winds in the name of Krishna Arpanamastu. Your crazy spirituality has pushed the household to the brink of starvation. We have had enough of it. I should not be continuing in this house any longer. What use is a husband like you to any woman? Rather than live this ignoble life, one would join a team of mendicant sages, at least to attain salvation. Now listen, good and proper. From this moment on, you are no more my husband than I am your wife. From this moment on, you are no more my husband than I am your wife. The bond is severed for good. You don't belong here. Get out of here at once. Shri Nareyana thought, actually, I already knew from some seers about this separation upon my return from my business trip to Chitta. You only realized it late. This is all in line with the divine will. The dialogue between Narayanapa and Munema pulled the crowds in the neighborhood, who gathered at the doorstep. The domestic strife was their cost-free entertainment. They would rather amuse themselves than attempt conciliation between the unhappy couple. None of them wasted the opportunity to offer a comment of their choice. Narayanapa was more embarrassed by the public exposure than by the flight with his wife. He tried to reason with her, look here, Muniama, you should not be taking that way. We are together the laughing stock of the neighborhood, don't you see? Are you not ashamed? Besides, is it possible for any wife to lead a dignified life once separated from her husband? Muniama answer was firm and flat. Yes, of course, and why not? I want it, besides. I'm damned if I'm going to share any life with you from this moment on. You're just off. Your life is your problem, mine is mine. Whatever these people say, or even the Almighty says, that is final. The greedy housewife threw her husband out of the house right in the presence of a public gathering. It is unusual for any man to take offense when his pride is hurt. Narayanapa was not only shouted at in public but summarily booted out for his alleged incompetence. He was hurt. He thought, all through the years, I have carried out my household duties in the face of numerous hardships and insults. And now my committed wife has rejected me outright. Where am I to go? What can I do? Is this all my prarabdham? It happened very, very long ago. As a child, the legendary Saint Adi Shankara desired the sannyasa way of life. But his mother denied. In fact, he was a little boy, so young that it was premature and out of sequence. She told him, my boy, I'm not agreeable to your choice of sannyasa. I want you to get married and become a housekeeper. I wait for my time with your children to relish the fun and merriment of their little deeds. Don't fail me. One day, he went to this river, accompanied as usual by his mother, to say his morning prayers. When he stepped into the water, he was caught by a crocodile that began dragging him away. He cried out, Mother, in being dragged by a crocodile, she was frightened and helpless. She said, what should I do? How shall I save you? He replied, Mother, please give me permission, at least in these last moments of my life. I will be relieved." She agreed, "As you wish, my boy. I have had the contentment of looking after you this long. You have my permission to become a sannyasi. Wherever you are, your welfare and satisfaction are my priorities." As soon as these words were out, the crocodile let go of the little boy, Shankara. That was how I became a great sannyasi. As the son, it was his duty to have a family and look after the old mother. Once committed to the sannyasi way of life, he would be free from duty, so it was necessary to seek her permission. The case of sage Nareyana was similar, but in a different way. As a householder, he had to take responsibility for his wife and children. He could not aspire to be a sannyasi without the permission of his wife to absolve himself of his responsibility. She gave it to me. In a way, that is, she said, we are no longer husband and wife, no longer committed to each other. You go away and join a team of sages. That was tantamount to her permission. All part of the divine magic, the continuous illusion. It was under the same illusion that the mighty Ravana, who did rigorous penance for the Athmalinga of Lord Shiva upon the request of his mother Kaisai, and who, when the Shiva-Parvati duo appeared to grant his wish, expressed an absurd wish. Instead of the Athmalinga, Ravana wanted Parvati Devi. The illusion averted the disaster of the Lord losing his Athmalinga forever. Another instance of such a phenomenal illusion is in the Ramayana. The Queen Kaikeyi fell prey to the illusion when she demanded the exile of Sri Rama and the coronation of her son Bharata. The illusion was nurtured by the wicked Mandara, who poisoned the mind of the otherwise loving and caring Queen Kaikeyi. Here, the illusion facilitated the sequence of events leading to the elimination of the demon king, Ravana. Likewise, the illusion incited Muniamma to have words with her husband, which facilitated the aversion in his mind to the uselessness of household life and worldly attachments. It paved the way for him to embark on his ascetic life in line with the established sequence. That was the illusion, the divine entertainment. He decided to first visit the grotto of Sri Narasimha Swami. When he was about to leave the house for good, his daughter Madama stopped him. He told her, "My child, from today on, I'm letting go of the household. All my bonds and attachments are severed." She was overtaken by distress. She requested, "Father, I will come with you. Wherever you go, please take me along." Then Munema cut in. "No, don't be a foolish child. If you stay with me, you will have good food and clothes. I will bring you up into a beautiful young woman, and will find a suitable husband for you. You will lead a happy life. If, however, you prefer to go with your father, he will only give you a begging bowl. You will have to depend on the dubious Almighty." However, the little girl protested, "I would not stay here. Whatever the difficulties, I will live with my father happily." Muniamma went berserk with rage. She caught her daughter by her hair, dragging her brutishly, and shoved her into the house. With the brutal push, her daughter whirled down, her head striking a rock. She was drenched in a pool of blood. The injury was fatal. The insufferable pain ended in death. Hearing of this incident, the entire village gathered around. There were whispers of varied judgment on the matter. Munyama was inconsolable. Simultaneously with her lamentation, she heaped rebuke on the wicked act of God, taking the life of someone so young. The townsfolk consoled her and advised her to be ready for the final rites. The cremation was conducted with the involvement of all and sundry. Nareyana was upset by the spectacle. His daughter was the apple of his eye. He had named her after his mother and indulged her very much. Likewise, his daughter had a deep love for him. It was she who used to take care of him and attend to his needs. Actually, there is a great difference in the filial love and attachment felt by sons and daughters. While the sons are interested in the material inheritance, the daughters are never enamored by the material effects. They always pray for the health and well-being of their parents. That is all they wish for. Even though they are married into affluent households, their affinity with their birthplace remains constant. Even Dakshayani Devi, the wife of Lord Shiva, is not an exception. Narayana was very upset and could recall the sweet words of his beloved daughter. If anything, the recollections worsened his distress. He then began to reconcile himself to his inexorable fate. Narayana was trying to console himself on the lines of the inevitability of fate, but the distress was too strong for his philosophy. He cried and cried. At length, he managed to cope with the bereavement through this line of philosophy. The physical form takes life right in the mother's womb. The human being is born into a network of relations and affections like parents, siblings, cousins, and relatives. It expands wider with the addition of spouses, children, and friends. All the while, the body and soul seem inseparable, but they are discrete. The individual soul is eternal, unlike the corporal form. It is independent of all affinities. It is wrongly identified with the body, which is actually its temporary sojourn. With its vacation, the body becomes an inert, organic mass, devoid of all identification and affinities. Although the soul seems inseparable from the body right from birth, it leaves at the fateful moment when the body is unable to accommodate it. The body is absorbed back into the fundamental elements it is composed of. It is an eternal cycle. What is born will die, and then it will be reborn. The rebirth is, however, relative to time and space. That is the inflexible formula, over which it is futile to lament. With such lofty construction, Narayana overcame the pain of his loss. He severed the emotional connection with his departed daughter. With a resolute mind, he left the house and reached the temple of Yoga Narasimha Swami in the forest. Seated on a rock, he was smitten with self-pity. "O God, where do I go? Where do I belong?" With this, Sri Narayana's path to enlightenment began. Thanks for listening to his life story.